It's a great opportunity to once again have a chance to meet up with all of you, to share ideas, and this time especially to share ideas on the future trade engagement between Kenya and the United States. It is always encouraging that our meetings that have now become more frequent, given the fact that I did meet some of your members during the American Chamber of Commerce Summit that was in Nairobi in November of last year. And before that, we also had an opportunity to meet again with some of you in New York on the sidelines of UNGA. So as many of you are aware, trade and investment, which really is the engine of national and global growth and development, and we in Kenya strongly believe that this is the basis that should form the core of our future engagements as we seek the mutual prosperity of our two countries. Indeed, when I was here in Washington in August of 2018, I had again the opportunity to meet your President, Donald Trump, and at that meeting we elevated the Kenya-US relationship to a strategic partnership that was to be governed by 4 pillars that included economic prosperity, trade and investment, our defense cooperation, democracy, governance and civilian security, but also multilateral and regional issues. As a result of that, we have made tremendous progress on a good number of those fronts. Just yesterday, we concluded with the US administration the signing of an agreement for 7th freedom rights for American carriers. Again, going a long way to simplifying the ability of US companies to make Nairobi a hub, not just for their business on the continent, but also a hub for their businesses in the East. Today, we have made another step forward, because after my meeting this afternoon with President Trump, we did agree that the Office of the United States Trade Representative, as well as our Cabinet Secretary responsible for trade, both these 2 offices were mandated to reflect and present the best framework for a future Kenya-US trade and investment relationship. And there was a very clear tone of urgency for these 2 offices to move with speed to bring this to a conclusion. We have had a trade and investment working group that has been working to deliver on that pillar of economic prosperity. And today, I want to assure all of you of Kenya's unwavering commitment on developing the strongest ever trade and investment framework with the United States. We are very keenly looking forward to concluding trade arrangements between our 2 countries. And I believe that this envisioned trade agreement and arrangements will not only serve Kenya and the United States, but will probably set the base for renewed engagement between the United States and other African countries. At this juncture, I'd just like to put away a few doubts, because there has been a feeling that by Kenya engaging with the United States to have a trade arrangement, we are running away from our commitments to the Africa Free Trade Arrangement. And I want to assure you that there can be nothing further from the truth. That is definitely not the case. Kenya was not only in the forefront during the negotiations of the Africa Free Trade Agreement, but we were also amongst the first countries to sign, and indeed the first country to ratify the arrangement. And our commitment to the Africa Free Trade area is unwavering. But what we've said is that said and done, whatever arrangements that we would enter into with the United States would not go against just the agreements that we have under the Africa Free Trade Arrangement, just as I am certain the United States will not enter into an arrangement with us that goes against pre-existing trade arrangements. All we are saying is that there are some of us, and Kenya is one of those, who feels that we are ready. We are ready to move forward. And what we're saying is, let the rest of the continent see us as pace setters. Let them see us as the people who are clearing the field for future negotiations with the rest of the African continent, because Kenya feels ready for this arrangement. And we don't want to be held back. We see clearly the opportunity that exists, and we want to be trailblazers and set a path for others on the continent to follow. So we're not breaking away. All we're saying is we want to move a little faster probably than everybody else, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. In pursuance of the strengthened trade and investment relationship between our two countries, it is necessary, as I said before, that we preserve and build on existing mechanisms and regulatory frameworks. For instance, issues of custom unions that we both belong to, all these should be given due attention. Legal as well as constitutional requirements should all be adhered to. And most important, the trade and investment environment should be receptive and favorable to both parties. Many of you are aware of the Africa Growth and Opportunity Act, AGOA, that has been a key mover for trade between Kenya and the United States. Through AGOA, the U.S. has become the third export destination for Kenyan produce, with a share of about 8% of total Kenya exports globally. We will continue to try and maximize the remaining years of the Africa Growth and Opportunity Act, but we are also realists, and we recognize that as it comes to an end in 2025, there is no guarantee that it will be renewed. And as I told members of the House Ways and Means Committee, when we had a sitting with their chairman and a number of their members. AGOA was an excellent tool to help African countries get on their feet. That arrangement of giving favorable terms to African countries to access the US market was wonderful. But it was like a kid on a bicycle, I told him. When you first get a kid on a bicycle, you know, you've got the training wheels that are there so that you learn to balance before you're able to ride. And that's what I'm basically saying. Maybe for some of us, we feel it's time we took a dip into the deep end and removed the training wheels and had arrangements that were predictable, longer term, and that would provide the business community with predictable terms of engagement with Kenya, and vice versa, that would give Kenya predictable terms for trade into the United States. So I note, as we have always said, that the US is an important source of FDI for Kenya. The FDI stock in 2018 was just about 405 million. We believe this can be much higher if we did indeed have an FTA arrangement with yourselves. I believe that there are a wide range of potential areas for investment. And I today urge US companies to consider investing, especially in the key sectors of our economy, sectors of agriculture, agro-processing, manufacturing, construction, real estate development, infrastructure development, ICT, blue economy, energy, the hospitality and tourism industry, health, fintech and financial services, petroleum, mining, amongst many others.